and welcome. You're watching FII. I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor. We come to you on a day when a couple of more states today are reopening their schools and colleges. And thus, there is a dilemma. As schools and colleges reopen, can in-person classes turn into super spreaders, or will they bring respite? There are two arguments really when it comes to a situation like this. Let's talk about the Andhra factor first. Remember what happened in Andhra Pradesh? 3 days after the schools reopened in Andhra Pradesh, at least 575 students, 829 teachers had tested positive for COVID-19. Government schools were opened, a lot of them were forced to shut down again. And then, remember what happened in Delhi just about last week? When an LSR girl, a 19-year-old student who had asked for a laptop, even a second-hand one, to continue her college classes online during the pandemic, but her family struggled for her request, she ultimately committed suicide. So, when it comes to reopening of schools and colleges, there are no real easy answers over here. That's something that we'll discuss over the next half an hour. First up, let's go and get some live updates on what exactly is the sentiment like on the ground. I'm joined by Maya Sharma, who joins us with a couple of students. She's at a college which is actually reopening today. Good morning, Maya. Like I said, no easy answers here. Is that the sentiment you're catching on the ground as well?
No easy answers indeed. There is still a lot of concern among parents, among administrators also, as to how to deal with the reopening of colleges. And it's not as if students are back on every campus in Karnataka. We're at the Jyoti Institute of Technology. Students are not back in here yet. Now, Mr. Rajesh is with the Governing Council. It was, of course, permitted for students to come back to college today. Nobody on campus yet. Why is that?
So, we have decided to open the campus on 27th. Primary reason, we have done a survey to all the students, and just about 8% of them have said they'll be coming and attending the classes. Because thanks to our the initiatives of principal and the other faculty team, almost 75% of the syllabus is over by now. And just for the remaining 25%, they feel that coming to the campus is a huge risk now.
So only 8% actually wanted to head back physically.
Wanted to head back. And about 18%, I would say, for the practicals, for the labs. But apart from that, I mean, they're so reluctant to get the RT-PCR test done. And I mean, even the parent community, they are not so willing to send their kids to the...
Because RT-PCR has been made mandatory by the Karnataka government, and parental consent in writing is also.
Yes, and see, when students came in here for admissions, even for the first year, most of the parents asked us for will there be a 1-year academic holiday? I mean, when we cleared them saying that no such thing will be there.
So it's not as if all students are coming back to the campuses here in Karnataka. There is a delay in some places because some students just do not want to get back.
Right, so it is actually in which side of the digital divide are you? And that seems to be the factor dominating on people's mind when they actually take a decision like this. We spoke with a couple of other students to try to understand their sentiments. Take a look.
It's not nice. Like after the holidays, we have come to write exams. It's not nice. Yeah, so I have to go to write my exam.
Okay. So what do you feel?
It's not good, too much tension, and it's not very safe.
We are really nervous and worried to write the exam today, but our college have taken all the responsibility which government have told us. So yeah, we are excited to write. That's all. Thank you. Shweta.
So what is the precautions taken with the corona?
No, everything, whatever government has told college to take, everything is taken according to that. So yeah.
Mask and social distancing.
Yeah. What do you feel?
Yeah, it's fine. We have to live with corona right now.
The college is taking enough precautions, but I don't think that is enough. But it's okay. Like they gave the test for us, RT-PCR test for us, and the results are provided here. We have to submit everything, and they are checking our temperature. They're giving us sanitizer. They are maintaining proper lines. So I think it's okay.
Scared of how to handle it. Otherwise, a little stressed and fine.
What is the precaution college is taken?
They're taking good precautions. They're taking the temperature and assuring everyone is maintaining social distance.
So what do you feel for the online class or offline class?
I mean, in current situation, everyone prefers online class.
All right, so that's a sentiment that you get majorly from urban India. But like I said, there is the other side of the digital divide, which is desperate to get back to colleges. My colleague Ghazali visited a couple of these girls' colleges to try and understand how the situation was in Punjab and Haryana. Take a look.
As per the orders of the state government, colleges and universities have reopened in Haryana, and right now I am in Government Postgraduate College in Panchkula district. I am joined here by some girl students who after a long gap of around 8 months have come to colleges. So, but would they prefer these online classes over the physical classes or classroom, attending the classrooms here in colleges? We have got very divergent views, but most of them say that online classes, they would prefer the physical classrooms over the online classes due to its own operational challenges. सबसे पहले आप बताएं क्या नाम है, किस कोर्स में हैं आप और क्यों आज कॉलेज आना आपको सही लग रहा है?
My name is Riddhi Mittal and my course is BCA, Bachelor of Computer Application in 3rd year. और ऑनलाइन क्लासेस में प्रॉब्लम आती है बहुत, क्योंकि नेटवर्क इशू होता है कई बार सिटीज़ में। हम तो रूरल एरिया से आते हैं तो वहाँ पे इशू बहुत ज़्यादा आता है, तो फिज़िकल क्लासेस में ज़्यादा अच्छा है, डाउट्स क्लियर हो जाते हैं और जो भी प्रॉब्लम्स है वो एक टाइम पे तभी क्लियर हो जाती हैं। ठीक है, और आप बताइए कि फ़िज़िकल क्लास ज़्यादा बेहतर है या ऑनलाइन क्लास, और आप लोगों के पेरेंट्स क्या कहते हैं? कोविड जो है हरियाणा में फिर से बढ़ रहा है, तो उसके लिए प्रोटोकॉल्स, सेफ्टी प्रोटोकॉल्स वगैरह हैं कॉलेज में आज?
सर, जो ऑनलाइन क्लासेस होती हैं जैसे मैथ्स की क्लासेस हैं तो फिर उसमें दिक्कत आती है, बहुत समझ नहीं आता अच्छे से, तो इसलिए ऑफलाइन क्लासेस ज़्यादा बेटर है ऑनलाइन क्लासेस से।
और कोविड वगैरह बढ़ रहा है तो इसको लेके आप लोगों को टेंशन होती है कि कोविड में क्लास में जाएंगे, कई लोगों से मिलेंगे, दोस्तों से कई दिन बाद मिलेंगे?
टेंशन होती है, बट एक ये भी है कि काफ़ी टाइम से घर में पढ़े हैं तो बोर हो चुके हैं। और ऑनलाइन क्लासेस में एक ये रहता है कि इश्यूज बहुत सारे हैं, नेटवर्क इश्यूज हो गया और शेड्यूल टाइम पे नहीं बन पाता हमारा। ये प्रॉब्लम, शेड्यूल की प्रॉब्लम बहुत है, और कोविड बढ़ रहा है, इसका तो सबको खतरा है ही।
अच्छा, आप लोगों में से कितने लोग हैं जो बोर होने की वजह से आ गए हैं कि घर में बैठे बैठे बहुत टाइम हो गया?
नहीं, बोर होने की वजह से तो नहीं, बट घर पर पढ़ाई अच्छे से नहीं हो पाती है और वैसे भी घर पर स्केड्यूल प्रॉपर्ली नहीं बन पाता। एग्री विद हर। एंड जैसे कि हमें पता है कि मैथ्स, फिजिक्स से किसी भी चीज़ की क्लास वीडियो भी नहीं क्लियर होती, ना ही ऑडियो क्लियर होती है। इतनी ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम्स आती है ऑनलाइन क्लासेस में, एंड यहाँ सबके साथ पढ़ेंगे तो ज़्यादा हम लोगों को अंडरस्टैंडिंग भी अच्छी होगी हम लोगों की।
ओके, आप बताइए कि
मेरे पास तो अभी कोई ग्रुप ही नहीं आया, इसलिए कॉलेज आना पड़ा है।
अच्छा, एडमिशन के लिए आई हैं आप?
एडमिशन तो हो लिया है, ऑनलाइन बच्चों की क्लासेस लग रही है ना, तो मेरे पास अभी कोई ग्रुप ही नहीं आया है।
ओके, कोई ग्रुप नहीं आया, यानी कोई ग्रुप बनाया नहीं है कॉलेज में?
ये तो पता नहीं सर बनाया है कि नहीं, मेरे पास नहीं, मतलब अभी आया। बच्चों की तो लग रही है ऑनलाइन क्लासेस।
हाँ, ओके, आप बताएंगे कि ऑनलाइन क्लासेस बेहतर हैं या यहाँ आना क्लासरूम में अटेंड करना ज़्यादा सही है?
क्लासरूम में अटेंड करना ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है, क्योंकि ऑनलाइन भी हमें कुछ समझ भी नहीं आता ज़्यादातर, और जो हमारे इश्यूज होते हैं तो वो क्लास में ही क्लियर होएंगे, ऑनलाइन में तो कम ही होएंगे।
सो व्हाट वी सी हियर दैट मोस्ट ऑफ देम से दैट online classes have their own challenges. Most of the times they say that the concepts or the teachers who are teaching them while attending the online classes, it is not always easy to clear their concepts. That is why they have come to the school, to the colleges on the opening day today, and many say that classes should continue, it should not be stopped, and they prefer attending classes in classrooms, coming to colleges. Despite the surge in COVID, they say they will take their own safety, they will follow the safety protocols and take all the precautions as COVID is surging in Haryana. In Panchkula, Mohammad Ghazali for NDTV.
All right, so that makes it very clear, doesn't it? We randomly picked up kids to understand from them what was their driver to stay online or offline. And what's clear from this is the fact the urban and the rural divide over here. The urban schools and the urban colleges and students you speak to there, they say they prefer online. But when there is no access for online classes, in smaller towns, people are desperate to come back to colleges. Well, on that note, let me introduce my guests this morning. We've got Dr. Ravindra Mehta. He's the Chief Pulmonology and Critical Care from Apollo Hospitals in Bangalore. We'll get a perspective from him and if there is a solution actually to move forward. We've got Dhruv Jati, he's a student founder member for the Bangalore student community. We've got Dr. Ruchi Seth, she's the principal for Lotus Valley International School in Noida. And we have Professor Badri Narayan, he is the professor and director for J.B. Pant Social Science Institute in Allahabad. Professor Narayan, let me begin with you. You are somebody who's facing quite a challenge right now, and I understand that in smaller towns it's a bigger worry to sort of have your online classes in place. What exactly are you getting to hear from your students, and in your college at least, what's the situation like?
Your reporter have rightly documented the voice of the students in different parts of India. The similar kind of voices we are hearing in our area from our students. Those who are staying in the villages, in the small kasbas and towns around Allahabad, and they are suffering a lot because they don't have mobile in that way, good mobile, smartphones. If they have, there is no connectivity, then listening problem, audio problem. And the important thing is that face-to-face interaction has no alternative. No, it's always good to have.
So do you have any solution for students like these, Professor? Then we all know what happened, the tragic suicide of the LSR student. She could not even afford a second-hand laptop, and desperate, she took away her life. Such a precious life lost there. What are you doing to ensure it does not happen again, and these people are reached out to?
What we do for our students, we try to give them counseling and try to provide them, tell our teachers that if they don't listen you well on their phone, you call them, ask their problems, try to resolve their doubts. But I think it is also not much, it's not satisfactory. There is a need that the term which you are using, digital divide, we have to abolish digital divide, and that will take a long time and long support, and the big support from those who are richer, those who are in power, those who are government. They should try to make our students to give them capacity to take benefit of the digital dissemination of the knowledge. But that's the problem, because the lack of facilities. Connectivity, mobile phones. If in one family there is one phone and there are 4 students are studying, so how they will get benefit of this digital?
Well, that is indeed education. A question. Dr. Ruchi said you are somebody who actually opened your school, and then the attendance was so low that you had to shut it again. So you're probably on the other end of the divide, where you're urging people that we have the resources, we have the all with means to ensure that social distancing is maintained and have put a mechanism in place, and yet people don't turn up.
Yes. I think actually what happens is it depends on how you perceive the situation. That's one thing. The situation is bad. We all know that we are in the transmission stage, whether governments say yes or no about it. But the fact is that it's spreading very fast, and there is anxiety and worry. The option of opening the school was exactly the reason why you had given, that there is a lot of emotional stress by being cooped up in the home, and children need to go out, they need to meet, and schools and colleges are places not just for cognitive development but for social integration also, and that's a very important aspect of the child's growing up. So the only thing is that at the school level, the family provides a great support system to the children. And when our online teaching has been successful and every child has a device to reach out to ensure that learning does happen, the parents are comfortable with that other option because it's a successful option. Although it's not the best option, I'd still say, because we've been struggling, for example, with assessments. That's not the best way to do it. But our online teaching and the counseling program, as well as the socio-emotional learning that we have been able to do, even online, has been a success story. So parents have that option.
Dr. Seth, how are you dealing with situations like recess, or say food breaks, etc.? Because that's the time, if classes were to resume, how do you ensure that you try and control and contain that?
So, you know, it's going to be a modified opening whenever it does happen. We try to open it in slots of 2 hours for each class. So we started with classes 10 and 12. 2 hours for class 12 with a gap of an hour, and then 2 hours for class 10. But even that, we thought if that becomes successful, we'll then open it for 9th and 11th. So in a staggered and very controlled and calibrated manner, we would have opened it. But unfortunately, 10th and 12th itself, after the first 3 days, there were no children willing to come or no parents willing to send their children. So we had to close it down completely. I think the readiness has to be there from all members of the learning community, whether it's the parents, the children, even the teachers have to be ready to come to school. We find a lot of the teachers are coming down with COVID. So, you know, the anxiety is all around.
But Dr. Sid, how are you dealing with your EWS category students?
You know, I think everybody has one phone at least in the family.
Okay, let me bring in Dhruv Jati over here. Dhruv, you're a student, you're somebody who represents the student community as well. What are your thoughts on what you've heard so far? I understand there are no easy answers here, but what exactly are the students hoping for at least? What kind of support do you seek?
Sonal, so I think firstly, it's premature to say anything on the decision as of now. We must understand that education is a process that should never be stalled. I had personally written to the Higher Education Ministry in Karnataka asking them to opt for the blended method, simply because it gives students the flexibility to choose whether they want to go online or offline. For example, in northern Karnataka, if you see, there's a huge problem because there's a lack of actually infrastructure to sustain online education for a longer period of time. And like you mentioned earlier, this adds up to the divide of, you know, the have and the have-nots within India. And a few points of concern that I would like to bring across is about how parents are still hesitant to send students back to school and college, and how colleges are going to manage the logistics when it comes towards, you know, teaching students online on some days, teaching students offline on the other. And a last concern, which I think is very crucial, is that there needs to be some sort of a mechanism to make sure that colleges don't exploit the decision that has been made by the government, which means that, you know, they don't overpack the classrooms with students, and some sort of a mechanism should be put in place. A very appreciative point that needs to be brought out in Karnataka is that the BBMP Commissioner Manjunath Prasad sir and his team have actually stepped forward to come and test students, which shows that there is a lot of support coming in from the administration's part. So if this is going to be successful in Karnataka, I hope it does, then it could be...
That's a model that could be taken up elsewhere as
well.
All right. Dr. Mehta, last but not the least, do you have any solutions and answers to all the worries you've just heard from the panel and several students that NDTV and FII has been speaking with? If one does, I mean, one thing to conclude is that in rural India or in smaller towns, there is just no way students, if they want to not lose out on a year, or girls who don't want to add on to the burden in the family, want to continue with their studies, have to step out. Now, if they do so, what is the best way to do it?
So let's face it, Sonal, very interesting observations and an extremely difficult topic. But it is a worldwide problem at this point. So we have only two options. A, we sit in our homes and we hope for the best, where we in our elite internet-based, digital-equipped media are able to educate our children, or we understand that this is a country which is actually 3 centuries all at once, and we need to look differently. So it's not that we are the only country in the world. We have precedents from many parts of the world. CDC has guidelines. We just need to look globally and act locally, because there is no way, I feel, that indefinitely we can sit at home. I mean, that is the whole concern right now, because whatever we say with the vaccine, Dr. Tedros also got on and says vaccine will only help. It is not going to take away COVID-19. Right. So I think a slow process of one understanding this, then engaging people, then putting all the measures the schools are doing, having some success mantras. We need some people who pull it off, and then obviously the rest of them will realize that there is some sense to this years ago on-site education, which needs to be slowly exported safely. Now, what we have to realize, and take half a minute more, is that no way we should be punitive out here. If we have setbacks, if people are getting infected, it doesn't mean that we question the whole process. The process has to be put in properly. We have to believe that this is something which is important. We go in a graded fashion and accept the ups and downs, then it will happen. I feel it needs to happen now.
Needs to happen now. All right, any piece of advice to especially Dr. Seth and Professor Narayan listening to you right now, and several others who have to deal with this very sort of tricky challenge right now to ensure that students are not infected, to ensure that teachers are not infected?
It's much better. See, if you look at guidelines, they're very clear. First of all, do it at a time when community transmission is down. To involve all the stakeholders, which means, you know, they spoke of the teachers and the administration, the government is one of them, and children and parents. Have a hybrid or blended model. There's no way it's going to be perfect. Put in all the safety guards, accept the fact that, you know, they are partners in the whole process, and things will work out in some fashion. It will never be perfect. It will never be zero. A via media needs to be figured out so as to test the processes, especially for the underserved, as you said. The question is, do I sit at home because of the fear of COVID when my risk of COVID as a kid is next to zero? Or do I stay uneducated for this entire period and then take a small chance with the entire system helping you? This is one time I have never seen that the whole system wants to work in one direction together.
Right. I see Professor Narayan's hand going up. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, Sunil, I want to tell that UGC has given issued instructions for the opening of colleges this time, and they say that 50% of students should come in the campus, and 50% we need to deal with the online education. So that may be a kind of beginning and a taste also.
Is it feasible for colleges to do that? To have this blended method going on?
I think there is difficult, and that's why I'm saying it may be taste also. If we will succeed in that, we will go ahead, we will take it further, and we will bring another 50%, those who are taking education from the online, to bring them in the campus. But if we fail in that, then again shut down. There is a line in that if something happens, then again shutdown will take place. So we will have to walk like on the swords, no, तलवार की धार पर चलने जैसा है, no, taking all the care and precautions to open the campus with all the worries, because our worries also are not going to disappear. That will be part of our life.
Sure. Talwar ki dhar is right way. It's catch-22 literally for everybody, for students, for teachers, for parents and everyone over there. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us with your perspective on this. Like we said, no easy answers here, but perhaps take the doctor's advice on the panel. Don't get afraid of it. Try and see. I mean, we are nobody to preach, but if it's done in a proper manner, perhaps, especially for those who are losing out in the entire process, will stand to benefit a little. That's it from me on FYI today. If you like our program, please do write in to us. If there's any other issue you want us to pick up on the show, please feel free to tell us that as well. That's it for today. See you again tomorrow morning, 11:30. Bye-bye.